I know how it feels when you click on a glossy product photo, get all excited about those perfect blacks and infinite contrast, and then end up watching movies on a screen that looks more like a cheap LCD panel under a dim lamp. The last thing you need is another disappointment that eats a chunk of your budget while you're still trying to find the remote that actually works. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and I'm going to walk you through why the LG C1 might be the one that actually lives up to the hype and also why it could be a miss for certain households. First, let's talk about the category itself. Modern 65-inch OLEDs sit at the sweet spot for most living rooms, big enough to feel cinematic, but not so massive that you have to rearrange furniture just to get a decent viewing angle. The biggest promise of any OLED is that each pixel can turn off entirely, giving you the sort of deep blacks that a traditional LED can't match. In everyday use, that translates to a picture that stays vivid even when you dim the lights for a late-night binge. The LG C1 brings that claim to life with its 8 million self-lit pixels, but the real question is whether the rest of the package, processing, smart features, and connectivity holds up in a typical home setting. If you're someone who watches a mix of movies, sports, and gaming, the C1's 9th-gen AI processor 4K is where the rubber meets the road. The processor does more than upscale, it analyzes each frame and applies local dimming, color mapping, and motion smoothing on the fly. In practice, I've seen it take a low-resolution YouTube clip and make it look surprisingly clean, while a 4K Netflix original just glides across the screen without the soap opera effect that many older OLEDs used to add. For gamers, the built-in NVIDIA G-SYNC compatible mode really matters. It synchronizes the TV's refresh rate with the GPU, eliminating tearing and reducing input lag to a level that feels close to a dedicated monitor. If you sit within a few feet of the screen, you'll notice faster response times in fast-paced shooters, and the HDR performance actually makes bright explosions pop without clipping. Now, who should buy it? The answer is pretty clear: anyone who values picture quality above all else and already has a decent sound system or soundbar. The C1's built-in Filmmaker Mode is a subtle but useful feature. It disables most post-processing, letting the content play as the director intended. If you have a home theater setup and you're looking to replace a dated 55-inch LED, the C1 is a step up that justifies the size increase. It also shines for gamers who want a console-friendly display. The low input lag combined with HDMI 2.1 support means you can run the latest PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X at 120Hz with VRR without needing an extra HDMI 2.1 monitor. Conversely, you might want to skip it if your primary concern is price or you don't already have a decent audio arrangement. OLED panels are notoriously pricier than high-end LED or QLED alternatives, and while LG's Magic Remote is slick, it's also a gadget you might lose or need a replacement for eventually. If you're planning to use the TV as the sole speaker source in a small apartment, you'll probably find the built-in speakers underwhelming compared to a dedicated soundbar. Also, if you're a bright room viewer, say, a family room with large windows and a lot of sunlight, the OLED's peak brightness, while decent, can be outshone by a top-tier LED that pushes higher nits. In those spaces you'll likely notice the C1's blacks, but you may also see a slight washout in highlights. Let's get into the practical strengths. One of the most noticeable advantages is the uniformity of the panel. Because each pixel lights itself, you won't see the cloudy glow that some edge-lit LCDs exhibit when the backlight is uneven. This means a consistent picture whether you're looking straight on or off to the side, which is great for larger rooms where viewers sit at varying angles. The TV's smart platform is another plus. LG's WebOS interface is intuitive. You can jump from Netflix to Prime Video to Apple TV Plus without fumbling through menus. The built-in Alexa also lets you voice control the TV, dim lights, or check the weather, which adds a layer of convenience if you already have a smart home ecosystem. For those who love to tinker, the C1 supports HDMI RC and eARC, so you can feed high-resolution audio from the TV to a capable receiver without extra cables. On the flip side, the weaknesses are more about trade-offs than outright flaws. OLEDs, by nature, have a finite lifespan for each pixel. LG's warranty covers the panel for 8 years, but if you frequently run static images, think of a news ticker or gaming HUD that stays on for hours, you could risk premature burn-in. The C1 does include a pixel shift feature to mitigate this, but it's something to be aware of if you intend to use.